Hey folks, this is Frank the Pestgeek. I'm in my favorite tropical jungle. As you can see behind me, I'm in a home. This is a waterfront property on Miami Beach that has about 33,000 square feet of not landscape, but jungle. And we have been doing mosquito here now for 2 years. We've tried different concepts, a combination of IGR with pyrethroids. But because of the weather here in South Florida, we have to apply it every 2 weeks because the label specifically says that if it rains or it's going to rain within a period of time, or it rains before or after immediately, that it needs to be reapplied in 14 days. So according to label, and what we experience is that the customer after 14 days starts to experience more bites. So we've done nothing but final feed on this property we tried it almost a year. Before it was called Final Feed, by the way, when it used to be a Terminex product. We were using it way before then. And we tried that, and it did help, but not as good. Then we tried the OV catch buckets, and that didn't help to reduce the population all that much. The customer didn't. We did it in combination with Final Feed. Finally, we just started doing more pyrethroid spraying. But today we're going to be trying a combination. I wanted to install on this property the In2Care, but we're testing it on other properties with great result. What am I finding with In2Care in South Florida? That it really starts to become effective after 60 days. It takes 30 days for that population to start dropping with In2Care. When you do the second service, by the time you do the second service, the customer already feels a huge improvement. By the second service, at the end of it, you're probably into that 80 to 95% control. Now, we use it in combination with Final Feed, so we get better control for the client. So we're entering into the high 95%, 96, 97 percentile of control. Problem is we have no way of documenting that, but the customer virtually experiences no bites. It also helps to control with the combination of Final Feed the Anopheles and the Culex mosquitoes that are in the area, especially at night. It does bring that population down. We had clients that like to go out late at night, 9, 10 o'clock, and they like to be outside smoking a cigar, having whatever, and they notice that they do get really good control of Anopheles, those night-biting mosquitoes. And I have customers that like to go on their patio before sunrise, meditate, do yoga, drink their coffee. They also experience a control with Final Feed alone. What we did now is incorporate it with In2Care over the summer, and we're getting a better control. It does become way more expensive than the simple, 2 sprays a month that companies are offering here, as low as $50 a spray. I get customers that call me, they want a once-a-month service. Now we're able to do a once-a-month service with the combination of In2Care and bait together. We notice that there's a lot of larvae swimming around in the first month in that container. Then after the second month and the third month, we virtually see no larvae in there at all. So the population drops dramatically after that second month and third month. If a customer is looking, he might get discouraged because he expected an immediate knockdown with the product. And yes, they do, but they're still probably in the 80 percentile range, and that's not acceptable. It's acceptable for studies for vector disease, studies that say we got an 80% reduction, and that allows a reduction in the probability of disease. When we're talking about mosquito control, which is a pleasure business for the client is expecting 90-something percent, virtually no mosquito. The only solution has been a misting system to this point. Now we're getting ready to install the INZECTO on this property. We're going to test the INZECTO out probably for a year. We're going to go through all the seasons. Since we do get high temperatures and high rains way into October and November here in South Florida, and we've had it even into December, mosquito populations are still there. What we're going to do is we're going to install it, work with it for a year on this property, evaluate it. We are going to get them off the pyrethroid spray with the pyroproxyfen, put them on the INZECTO, and then just use the Final Feed bait and seeing if that produces the result the client wants. And this is all of when I tell people, when I do the evaluation, I say, look, You're the one that has to tell me what you're experiencing. This idea that you're going to be hands off because you hired me and then be upset and say your service doesn't work, that's not a process of evaluating a product, especially when we have a flying insect like mosquito. Let me see if I can get the lens cleaner. And that's a little better. The client you have to seek feedback, and you got to let the customer know, listen, I need a feedback on month 1, month 2, month 3. A 1-month evaluation isn't really realistic, especially when we're dealing with this type of environment in South Florida. Now, this might work differently for you in Texas. If you're in Utah, if you're in New Jersey, there are different protocols you can use. I'm talking about what we experience down here in South Florida. So let me show you now the INZECTO Trap and how this thing works. Check this out. Here is a brand new box of INZECTO. I ordered 8 of these units for this property. Compared to In2Care, this is going to be about 33% less effective by my calculations, less expensive than In2Care. So In2Care now has some serious competition. As a result, we're expecting that price to go down on the sachets, because the sachets replacement are $7 if you buy a 100 box, and they're $9 if you buy a 50 box. So very, very expensive, and then you have to decide how many you need on a property. A property this big is probably going to be 8 to 10 of these. So these are $11 a piece right now. So if we can put 8 and solve it, we're looking at $88 every 3 months, because they're changed out every 3 months, unlike In2Care that has to be changed monthly or 45 days. So we're testing them out. We're pushing the In2Care to 2 months to see what happens, see if we can still get the control, see if we see still the larvae, what the client experiences, because you have to compete in a marketplace. And when you're competing against spray companies charging for 2 services a month $100 a spray service, we're starting out at anywhere between $89 to $109 a month for 1 monthly visit. The customer calculates price based on monthly visits. Well, he's visiting me twice a month, you're only visiting me once a month, and you have to compete with that. But what we're buying is the result. It's permethrin with pyriproxyfen. That's the label right there. You fill this little thing up to the line, like right here, and then you basically put it somewhere or hang it. We're gonna got some wire ties, because I'm gonna hang it from between trees and shrubs outside, so they don't get damaged. The landscapers don't destroy them. Dogs can't get to it. Kids can't get to it. So I'm gonna put it about 6 feet in the air, which is really good for mosquito. You can go as high as 15, but 6 to 8 feet is going to be really good. In some cases, we're going to put it close to the ground. What you want with mosquito is you're putting it in places where there's very little air movement. They're going to like where there's no air movement, it's dark, and it's wet, and there's water. So if you can create the perfect environment, there's our rodent stations back here. We might stick this product back here, which is really far away from the property, and maybe just hang it here, you see, and not, that way we're in an area where it's nice, there's a wall, the air is being blocked. If we can stick it behind the tree where the air is blocking it, in a corner somewhere, that's the ideal place for putting these type of stations, is where there's very little air movement, there is a lot of shade, and possibly the water, and the water is going to be in here. So we create the perfect environment for a mosquito to want to be in. You see, folks, you have to test. It isn't a science. It isn't an exact science when we're talking about mosquito control. There is a biology that's perfect, because the mosquito doesn't change its biological behavior, but we're dealing with different environments. We're dealing with different situations. We're dealing with different customers, perceptions, different customers' expectations that are not based on the science, but they are based on what the customer wants to experience. So this is the new INZECTO Mosquito Trap, and we're going to be testing it out on our customer's property, which this customer is very demanding. This is a very demanding customer. They want to experience nothing in here, but yet, as you can see, look behind me, there is nothing but jungle. It's jungle. 33,000 square feet of South Florida jungle. Hey, this is Frank the Pest Geek, wishing you a pestacular day.